Good morning, guys. It is Monday, June 10th. I am tired. Sorry. Allergies are making my nose itch all the time. I'm about to start snitching some of Elena's medicine. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. They're prescription medicine, so I'm not going to do that. Anywho, it is about 8:45. I had to come to work several hours earlier than what I normally do. For the fact of she's got some doctor's appointments early this morning that I have to take her to. So of course I have to come in early to take her to those. Oh, I am tired, and honestly I am tired and kind of stressed out. There's some stuff going on right now, and it's just got me all kind of stressed out. And I know that is life. Life happens. Life does things that stress you out. And okay, I do not know what that is. I've heard that noise before, but I thought it was like the seats, like the seat moving, because it's got this thing on the door that it has like the memory setting. That way you can press like setting 1 or setting 2, and it goes to the seat and the pedals go to a certain position for certain people. But I'm sitting in it, and I was touching the pedals with my foot. That was not it. So I don't know what that noise is. I'm going to have to tell a line about that, which I already did. And he was thinking it was the seats. So I was like, well, it is possible. But yeah, that wasn't the seats. I didn't know what that is. Hopefully it's nothing major. But anyhow, as I was saying, sometimes I know life is just going to get you down, and you're going to be stressed out, and you're just not going to know what to do. And literally the only thing, what helps me, is just praying. And I know that praying may not, you may think that praying is not for you. Technically, praying is for everyone. Anyone can pray, no matter your lifestyle, no matter what religion you are, whether you believe in God or not. Anyone can pray. Prayer is for everyone. You may just not want to, or you don't want to, you don't believe in it. That's just, it's just, I don't know. But don't ever think that prayer is not for you. Oh no, prayer is not for me. Oh no, I can't do that. Yes, you can. You just have to open up your mouth and talk like you're just talking to people. And so the thing that helps me is prayer. Now, there are times to where I pray and I feel like it's falling on deaf ears. I done told y'all I'm going to be transparent about things. And I know that is something that a lot of Christians, God followers, holy rollers, whatever you would like to call us, we don't really like to admit things like that. We want to let everyone think that we are all okay and that nothing ever bothers us. And every time we pray, our prayers are answered instantly, or we pray about it once and we just have this feeling over us that, oh my gosh, everything's gonna be okay. I feel so much better now. No, Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. I wish it did. But that's just not the way it works. You know, honestly, there are some prayers that will unfortunately never be answered. Which prayers those are, you never know. One of the prayers that I used to pray all the time was to have a kid. I was in a 10-year marriage, and I desperately wanted me and him to have a child together. That prayer was never answered. And then came along Caleb. So sometimes the prayer is just not answered at all. Sometimes they are answered, but they're kind of modified a little bit. So I used to pray that me and my ex would have a child, that I would get pregnant and have a kid. That did happen, but it was modified for the fact of it wasn't with him. And so sometimes you just have to wait. And I waited, 10 plus years for that one prayer to be answered. And it was not answered in the way I thought it was. That's for sure. One of the other prayers that I used to pray is the fact that mine and his marriage, we would work everything out and we would grow old together and die together. And that prayer was never answered. And I'm okay with that. My life is better off now. I don't know, I guess I would say maybe a little bit more stress than what I did back then. But that's because I was in my 20s and I didn't have any kids and I didn't have to think or stress about anything other than myself. Now I have a few more stressors because, I have kids that I have to worry about. I have to worry about Caleb's, mental issues and his health issues. I have to worry about Elena's health issues, as well as my own, and as well as Elaine's. And so, yeah, maybe life may be a little bit more stressed right now, but it's because I have a lot more to worry about. Back then, I didn't have nothing to worry about. I didn't care. I was young and dumb. But yes, some prayers are just not answered. Some are not meant to be answered. There's no telling where I would be or where my life would be right now if God would have answered that prayer and we would have stayed together. There ain't no telling what would have happened by now. And with that prayer being answered, most likely my child prayer would have never been answered. Because there was a reason why God did not want me and him to have a kid together. And that's because he knew that we weren't going to stay together. And he did not want to. My thought is the fact of God did not want another child to have to be in a split family. Because things did not end very well between us. And our kids would have ended up getting in the middle of it. And yeah, that's not exactly where a child needs to be. So if a prayer is not answered, doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. It may seem like it. It may feel like it. Trust me. And as bad as this is not what I had planned on talking about this morning, it's really not. I try not to talk about religion. I try not to talk about politics because I know that those are very touchy subjects for people, and that's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to do or say anything that is going to upset you guys. I just don't want to do it. Now, if you have a problem with this video, the only thing I ask is that you just skip along. Don't unfollow me because this isn't something I talk about all the time. But I don't know. I guess between how I've been feeling and some things that I heard on the radio this morning, I guess it's just kind of got me into, I don't know, I guess just in one of those moods to where I'm just like, yes, I'm stressed. Yes, I'm worried. But I just have to keep praying. I just have to keep pushing forward and just pray, put it in God's hands, and just let Him handle it. Because there's nothing that I can do to fix the problem. This is something that only God can handle. God can't handle it if I still have my hands on it. I have to actually release it for Him to... And that is easier said than done. Trust me. I've stressed myself out trying to figure out how I'm going to fix this problem. When in all reality, I'm not the one that can fix it. So if you are in the same exact place that I am right now, or unfortunately even a worse situation that I'm in, and you feel like you've lost all hope, don't. Never lose hope. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, even though that you don't feel like you have the strength to do it. Because you do. There is one thing that, well, there's one, but technically there's two things that I always think about. And they're both in the Bible. I'm not a biblical scholar, so I don't know exactly where these scriptures are at, so forgive me. But in the Bible, there are two different passages. One is pretty much telling you that God will not give you anything more than what you can handle. Even when you feel like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle nothing else. If one more thing happens, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. And then something else happens. And you're like, I can't handle this. I'm done. No, you're not. Unfortunately, no, you're not. Because God wouldn't have let that one other thing happen if He didn't think that you could handle it. Trust me, I've been there. There was a point to where I didn't think I could handle anymore. And yeah. More happened. But all it did was just make me stronger in the end. And I learned a lot of things by being in that very, very low, in the mud place. The other passage is talking about faith. And it's talking about having faith the size of a grain of mustard seed. If you don't know exactly what that is, I would definitely encourage you to look that up. Mustard seed, it is the smallest seed in the world. It is like one teeny tiny little grain of sand or dust. Like, it is so super duper tiny. It is so not even funny. And pretty much when you see how tiny this thing is, that is all the faith that you need. It's just the size of that little seed. That's all He asks for. It's just something oh so tiny. It's like a little speck of dust. A little speck of dirt or sand. That's all He asks. And it amazes me that that's all it calls for. Just that much. Not only have I Googled how small this thing is, also years and years ago, back when I was a teenager, there was a preacher that preached about it. And he actually ordered a bunch of them and handed them out to the congregation. And like, it's like so tiny, like everybody lost theirs within just a couple of minutes of it being handed to them because it was so tiny. Everybody dropped it and you couldn't find it again. Talk about finding a needle in a haystack. It's harder to find that. So don't be despaired. Just pray. And you may, oh, I don't know how. Honestly, talk to him like you do your husband or your wife or your kid or your best friend. If you are one of those that makes videos, talk to him like you're doing that. Like, I know, like, right now, I'm talking to a camera. But I pretend like I'm talking to other people. Like, there's somebody in front of me that I'm having an actual conversation with. Because I know that later on, y'all will be watching it. And it will be like I'm talking to you. Even though that, by the time you watch this video, it may have been a week past. You know? Or y'all could be watching this a year from now. For a year from when I actually made this video. And you're like, oh my gosh. Well, no. I uploaded that a year ago. It's literally that simple. You don't have to use any fancy words like you hear preachers or ministers use. Honestly, my ex-in-laws were both ministers. And as well as my ex-husband. And honestly, their everyday prayer was always so different from what it was when they were on the platform. They try to use prettier words, so to speak, on the platform, just to make it sound nice. You know, not the fact that they were trying to act like something they weren't. But just their everyday prayer, they just, honestly, there were times where I thought they were on the phone having a conversation with someone else. And I found out they were just sitting there praying. You could be in your car and just, hi, how are you? You know, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to be in a certain spot or a certain time of day. A lot of times I get a lot of my prayer done while I'm driving. Because I have something to actually pray for. My 2 miracles. They're my miracles. And I pray for them daily. So, sorry about that. This, like I said, this was not the video that I had planned. But it kind of just came out of the middle of nowhere and I had to talk about it. So, I love y'all. And, yeah. And I just love you guys. And I pray for healing and for stressors to be removed. Just, I hope and pray that y'all have a wonderful day and that whatever y'all are going through, I hope y'all come through on the other side very, very soon. Y'all have a wonderful day. And we love y'all. And we will pray daily for you.